Okay, we got weirdest crimes of 2024. Let's see what this is about.
Authorities in St. Clair County, Alabama say that a local man is facing multiple charges this week after he allegedly jumped into the aquarium at a popular outdoor sporting goods retail chain and refused to cooperate with police. The whole thing started just before 9:40 p.m. on January 4th at the Bass Pro Outlet in the community of Leeds. The store was getting ready to close for the night when out of nowhere, employees and shoppers started to hear a strange commotion. That commotion was allegedly the sound of 42-year-old George Owens, who had just stripped off all of his clothes and done a cannonball into the store's large aquarium. According to reports, the 42-year-old refused to get out of the large tank, and as a result, police were called. Unfortunately, Owens wasn't much more cooperative with them either. When officers arrived at the store, the 42-year-old briefly got out of the water, but apparently that was just to shout obscenities at them before diving back in. He proceeded to swim around for a while once again before attempting to climb out over the glass, only to fall several feet onto the concrete below. Bystanders who witnessed the events claimed that it appeared Owens was knocked out from the fall, at which point police placed him in handcuffs. After regaining consciousness, the 42-year-old reportedly became a handful once again. After officers escorted him out of the store in a blanket and tried to place him into a police cruiser, he allegedly kicked one of the vehicle's doors, damaging the frame. However, eventually he was taken into custody. It's now believed that Owens may have been suffering from some sort of mental health crisis during the incident. Immediately before jumping into the Bass Pro Aquarium, the 42-year-old was reportedly acting erratically and crashed his vehicle into a pole in the store's parking lot. At the time of this recording, he is facing a number of charges, including public lewdness, disorderly conduct, resisting arrest, second-degree assault, 2 counts of criminal mischief, and 2 counts of reckless endangerment.
Do you know how nasty that water is for you to jump in an aquarium with the fish? Do you know how nasty that water is? Like, they gotta clean that water. And you jumping in there butt naked, butt booty naked?
Representatives from North Carolina's Boone Police Department say that they recently dealt with quite the bizarre situation after a female suspect allegedly became so enraged at the fact that she was being arrested that she literally chewed up the back seat of one of their cruisers. According to reports, the situation took place sometime on January 2nd when police were called about an alleged assault involving a 32-year-old woman. When they arrived at the scene, the unidentified woman was placed under arrest, who apparently wasn't very happy about how things were playing out. As soon as she was placed in the back of one of their vehicles, she allegedly began to bite whatever she could with her teeth. Apparently, officers only noticed the damage after they had arrived back at the station.
What she think she is, a dog? She thought she was a cat or something? She thought she was a rat trying to bite through some... Man.
And the 32-year-old had been taken in for processing. By that time, she had ripped and chewed up a large amount of padding in the back seat, with police estimating she did about $650 worth of damage to the vehicle. In a Facebook post after the incident, Boone Police put up a photo of the aftermath, writing, quote, "That moment when you are so angry you were arrested that you decide to chew the seat. We may need to invest in Kevlar seat covers. Wow." Understandably, the post prompted a number of amusing responses.
You're not you when you're hungry. Grab a Snickers.
One commenter joked, "You are not you when you're hungry. Grab a Snickers." While another pointed out that the woman probably would have thought twice if she knew the kind of stuff that went on in the back seat of police vehicles. At the time of this recording, authorities say that they are still deciding whether to file additional charges against the woman for the damage to the cruiser.
Authorities in New London County, Connecticut say that a 62-year-old man is facing a number of charges this week after he allegedly dug up the yard of a home in his neighborhood, threatening the family that lived there and giving a rather bizarre excuse for his actions. The whole thing began at around 10:15 a.m. on January 14th when police in the town of Ledyard received a call from a local woman. The woman said that her neighbor, later identified as 62-year-old Mark Uterstadt, appeared to be in the middle of some sort of freakout. That morning, he had shown up at their house unannounced and had started to dig up their front yard with a rock rake. The woman said that when her husband went outside to tell Uterstadt to stop, he refused to leave, took a swing at her husband with the rake, and threatened him and their 2 young kids. The 62-year-old also claimed that he owned the neighborhood, and most strangely of all, had accused the family of being pirates. When police arrived at the scene, Uterstadt was placed under arrest. By that time, he had apparently changed his reasoning about why he was digging up the yard, now stating that he did it because he believed his neighbors were trying to install a water line. The 62-year-old is now facing charges, including risk of injury, second-degree threatening, fourth-degree criminal mischief, breach of peace, and simple trespass.
Damn. These charges don't even seem real. Like, they pulling these out the book. But what Grandpa doing? Grandpa didn't even take his medicine. Grandpa needed to take his drugs and chill out. Old man don't know where he at.
Authorities in Pinellas County, Florida say that a 42-year-old woman is facing new charges this week following a harebrained scheme in which she allegedly planned to try and fool a court-ordered drug test with dog urine. The whole thing started back on December 28th when 42-year-old Jessica Beatty was arrested for possession of drug paraphernalia and driving with a suspended license. She was later freed on her own recognizance, though since this was apparently far from her first drug-related arrest, the order came with the stipulation that Beatty submit to drug testing while out on release. Fast forward to January 11th, when Beatty reported for her first test at the Pinellas County Misdemeanor Probation Unit. It was here, when prompted to provide a urine sample, that she allegedly tried to sneak a phony one in instead. After being caught by probation officers, Beatty apparently confessed that she planned to try and fool the test. Her plan was to use pee that she said she had collected from her aunt's dog. Now, in case it wasn't already obvious, this would not have worked, even if Beatty had somehow managed to get the phony sample past officers. According to OHS Health and Safety Services, a California-based company that conducts these kinds of drug tests, animal urine and human urine has a bunch of noticeable differences, and in this case would have been easily detected. According to reports, Beatty was arrested after revealing her plan and has been charged with urine testing fraudulent practices. The order freeing her was also revoked, and she is now back in jail in connection with her previous arrest. Reports do not mention how Beatty was collecting the dog urine that she attempted to use in her scheme.
So she was just grabbing random dogs that was wild dogs that were just running around in the neighborhood and just... Never mind. I don't even want to think about it.
On this channel, we've covered a lot of stories of people who've ruined their lives for pretty questionable reasons. I have to say, though, the subject of this next case might just take the cake. Authorities in Marion County, Indiana say that a local man is facing a slew of new charges this week after he allegedly attempted to trade with employees at a local restaurant, offering them illegal drugs in exchange for a deep-fried appetizer. According to reports, the whole thing started sometime late on January 14th, when 25-year-old Justin Carpenter had a hankering for Buffalo Wild Wings. In particular, his favorite appetizer, deep-fried pickles. After calling up a friend, Carpenter drove to the nearest Buffalo Wild Wing location in Lawrence, where he attempted to order his food. However, he soon found himself in a completely different kind of pickle. Upon being informed that it was after midnight and the kitchen was closed, Carpenter came up with an idea. He started chatting up the employees, allegedly offering them a wide assortment of drugs in exchange for food, stating, quote, "If you make us some fried pickles, I'll make it worth it." As if this already doesn't sound bad enough, don't worry, it gets worse. Not only was Carpenter already wearing an ankle monitor in connection with prior drug-related offenses, some of the employees he was trying to bargain with were apparently minors. Needless to say, Carpenter's offer was not accepted, since, Buffalo Wild Wing doesn't operate on the barter system. Despite this, the 25-year-old found a way to dig his grave a little deeper. Before leaving, he allegedly left 3 small bags of weed on the restaurant's front counter, telling the manager, quote, "Give those bags to the kids." At some point, police were called, who found Carpenter at a nearby gas station. A search of his car turned up more marijuana, as well as cocaine, oxycodone, Xanax, THC vape cartridges, and some additional as-yet unidentified white powder. Following his arrest, the 25-year-old was slapped with a number of new misdemeanor and felony drug charges on top of those he was already facing. At the time of this recording, he remains in custody.
And not you trying to give drugs to kids, man. Oh my god, bro. Let me see. The name of the title is this video is gonna be "He Tried to Give Drugs to Kids." That's gonna be the title of this video, bro. He tried to give drugs to little kids. Like, you was on an ankle monitor for possession of drugs, I believe, or drug related charges, and then you gonna try and barter with these people to try and give you some food if you give them some drugs, and then you're gonna leave some drugs on the table and say give that to the kids? Oh my gosh.